not the hideous, grave-walking, battlefield-marching creature that's very confusing to think that it actually lives out in the middle of pretty much anywhere. I mean, it lives anywhere varied from graveyards to tombs to even dead battlefields. This lovely, tiny, hideous, ugly monstrosity of a head. The Vargouille. Easily found, pretty much, where anything dead persists for long periods of time. It is not really as much of a threatening creature as you would expect from it, but tiny for someone who has to be anywhere from level 5 and lower, it's pretty much a death sentence if you're not careful. Its stats in and of itself, it's kind of, it's there. It's a small outsider. Mostly just because of how they're created more than anything else. It's got an okay fly speed, so if need be, you can outrun it fairly easy. Kind of surprised that it doesn't have perfect, but wings just kind of work out that end. It's got its bite attack, which is mostly just to pass on its poison, just because 1d4 points of damage is not really going to be the life or death situation to get hit by. It's got quite a few different special attacks that all vary in going. Of course, it's nice enough to have taken weapon finesse, but only has 13 dex, so I don't know what the weapon finesse is really dealing with that much. 4 versus 5, I guess. It's got a pretty mediocre AC, even for something of CR2. Well, I guess average is probably more accurate to say at this point. Averaging 3d10, so pretty much fills that small niche of smalls. Kind of threatening that it can be found, it's commonly found with at least 2 of them in the area, if not 3 to 6 or 7 to 12. Of course, also has no treasure, but what did you expect this thing to carry? It has no freaking arms. What do you expect this to have? Things in its hands? No. However, as going from there, it does have its poison, which is a nasty poison to get hit by. Small fortitude save, about average fortitude save actually, because 12 to 13 is about what you're looking at for this kind of CR range. But, as opposed to actually dealing any kind of stat damage, it actually causes you to be very hard to heal with magic healing, which is big reliance upon, since you'll be using potions or clerics or whatever. So the DC 20 caster level check is brutal for someone in the level 5 and under range. So the one bad trip on that poison, you really aren't healing up. Then to top it off, they have this lovely shrieky ability, which comes in handy for a lot of their combats involved. They just, I mean, with 2 or 3 or 12 of them, however many, even on the higher ends, it shrieks at you. And one misstep of fortitude save, and you get paralyzed for several rounds. Of course, as with many noise shrieking and shouting and noise making stuff, once you pass it, you're pretty much golden for the next 24 hours. And that's always a good positive note. However, the kicker is its lovely kiss of, as most people would call it, the kiss of death. The Vargouille can kiss a helpless target, or if for some reason there's a willing target. I'll ask who's willing to take this kind of kiss. It's mostly going to cause you more issues than anything else. It is treated as a disease, so paladins do get the immunity towards it, which is convenient. And then the attack itself is, of course, a fortitude save. It's actually one of the nicer fortitude saves. Being 16 is quite a good save number for this level, and probably explains why it's so common for it. Otherwise, at maximum time frame of 24 hours to even earlier if you have really bad saves for it, but over the course of give or take, 1 to 6 hours, you'll end up losing a whole bunch of stuff. But it's got 6 stages over the 24-hour process. First being the first one, hair falling out. The second one, ears are growing in the wings, and tentacles, and the chin strap that it's known for, and the teeth all become long, which is a lot of stuff in 6 hours, but alright. Then, as the final kicker to make you really hurt, the last couple of hours is now the intelligence and wisdom drain for every hour, like totally jumping you. Which has a minimum of 3, which is kind of why I have a 1d6 in the system, but I digress. Then the final 6 hours, when you finally break into the point of it, and of course, your head pops off. And of course, you die because the head popped off. So who would have guessed? And thus completing your full transformation into a new one. And to be fair, they cooperate with each other on top of that, so they're smart. And then they have the oddity of being delayed by sun effects, whether it be through sunlight or the daylight spell. Well, I mean, it says 3rd level higher spells, so I don't think daylight would... No, pretty sure daylight will work, but either way, to fully stop it is simple. You just remove disease. Pretty simple, it solves that problem for it. But this hideous monstrosity has quite the powerhouse to go for. Because at best, you can end up working with a whole swarm of them running around. And they're not exactly the most friendly. They fly through, give you that nice mwah, and boom. And for pretty much anyone who's under, give or take, level 7, even more if you don't have clerics hanging around to be your healers, since there are other options to healing and everything. And realistically, other than that, you would get to deal with sunlight, which I guess it gives you about 8 to 12 hours depending on the season, so that's always a fun one to go for. And then to top it off, since their lovely kiss of death doesn't require them to be humanoid targets, it just requires someone not immune to diseases, so you can unfortunately run into a lot of them fairly quickly. You see them wander through a forest or onto a battlefield or pretty much anywhere there's a population of things with heads. And they just walk in, and it's not even a once per day, it's just something they can do to helpless targets. And seeing as all they have to do is scream at them and stun them, then drop it on them. And then a lot of smaller creatures, a lot of the not so constitution based creatures, they'll be popping heads and you'll have a whole epidemic plague of them, which is awful. But, well, and there's no but to that. It's just awful. They're not like undead, so you can't just short kill them real quick. Like, you're not gonna throw banishment spells at them to throw them out of there, because that's a waste of a high level spell for this CR1 creature. They're 5 intelligence. I mean, it can work together with other ones. They're not gonna have like the most sophisticated plans, considering their leadership skills are probably absolutely terrible with that 8 charisma. The 5 intelligence really doesn't help their ability to work up together. They're not super stealthy. They're at least nice enough to be able to speak to, but I don't know very many people who are going to try and speak to this poor thing and try and cooperate. In fact, I don't think anyone's really ever going to try and talk to this thing. Once you see him, you want to kind of put him down. But, you know, it can be deadly for quite a few level ranges on top of that. You get enough of these in a room, you're probably going to lose the party, if not the whole party. But hey, it's the ways of the world. And graveyard creatures. But hey, happy hunting on that problem. And pray you don't run into this thing in the dark, because it goes bump, bump, bump. And high-pitched scream. I love just picturing being screamed at, but you know, that's your choice. Bye-bye!